For the unboxing and the installation on a JL Wrangler for the Tuffy security box for the tailgate. As we open it up here, we're just going to go this real quick, not pulling every little thing out on camera to show you, but some of the basic hardware. I pulled out some of the padding that's already in there, just getting this up out of the way. So it pretty much comes already pre-assembled. You've got your locks. And all we got to do is pretty much drill some holes and put it in place. We'll go over that. Once we unlock it, you're just going to lift it up. Inside here are some additional instructions about the install. So as you can tell with the instructions here, this first part here that we unloaded, those are going to be your removable shelves for the inside. And then you've got some spacers and our screws and installation equipment, which is going to be in here. I'm just going to go over the installation instructions, which is basically just telling you to remove the rear plastic panels. I do have that in another video, but I'll show you again. Alright, first you're going to remove this inner piece here. You're just going to put a screwdriver up in between the two and pop out. And the whole thing just pulls out. And then you're going to basically follow up and do the same thing. Whether you want to grab from the inside here or from the bottom along this seam here. I'll let you grab just on this side here and pull. We're going to pull that across. And keep pulling. And then on the back side of this, I'll show you again where this lines up at. You've just got all the little tiny pull pins, top and bottom on it. I don't see the drill bit size to use in the instructions. I am going to be using 732. It is indicating on the bottom of the panel. We're going to use the drill points. Here is one right here. The second one should have been somewhere right in this area, so how I'm going to line it up is I'm going to hold this up to the spot, and when looking, one of the hole marks should be here, and the second one should be right here. So just make sure you follow along with those hole areas. And my correction, it will not be the larger one here, it's going to be this one down in the further corner. The reason that mine is black here is I've had mine sprayed with the Line-X at this point. Once drilling the two holes, one should be about right there. The other one's going to be up in this corner, and the other ones are going to actually be through these larger holes going on the other panel. We're just going to place this directly back on by lining it up and pushing it in. The location for the screw holes on the back are going to be these little middle points. On this one right here is going to be right through the P on the Jeep from the back side. There's a little tiny bracket on here. And that's going to look like that from this side here. And a little bit of correction from earlier where it said the 13mm, it actually does have a sizing. So we're going to go with a larger size, and these smaller holes right here are actually going to have to be drilled to that 13mm. Same thing with the other ones on these, and these get inserted in and will sit flush on that side so it won't be touching the plastic. Alright, and as you see, once you've drilled the holes out here, these should basically be able to fit right through. Now, my mistake, the one in the middle did not need to be drilled out, so don't do that. I was thinking of the Mopar one that uses the third one, where you do drill the middle one out. So that was my bad on drilling that part out, but it's going to be covered by the box anyways. On the bottom side here, you can see made them a little larger, and it's just going to fit in. I might need to drill that one out a little bit, but this one here is going to just slide right in and provide that backing space. So, although I did use the smaller drill bit to begin with, it actually wasn't bad because it did kind of help line things up for the larger one to drill a better hole. So it's still not a bad idea, but the instructions just basically say use that 13mm one. Alright, the next set of the instructions are just going over the actual mount and install of where they go. What I will say though is get these pre-ready. So I've got them off to the side here. Go ahead and get them ready. That way when you go to put it in, you don't got to fumble trying to get them ready at that time. The next thing that I'm going to do is just make sure that my holes are lining up. So when I get the box on there, it'll go in nice and easy and not much of a struggle. So that is catching. And we're going to check that one, and we'll follow up by the next two. Alright, when you're ready to do the install, just pay attention. You do have two longer screws and two shorter ones. The longer ones are for the bottom, and the shorter are for the top. Alright, as you can see, I went ahead and put the bottom two bolts already down inside of here. And I'm going to do that so when I lift this into place, I can just line them up and kind of screw them in by hand. The only thing that concerns me is the bottom panel of this does not have any drilled holes to let any type of water that does get in out. So I will probably end up drilling a hole or two in the bottom just to allow that to happen. But overall, it is a nice little storage unit. It's got some heavy duty locks on it. This will come up through here and catch here. And I'm putting this in. We used to have the under the driver's seat storage compartment for weapons or tow stuff. So this will give us that little bit of extra storage space that's lockable. So as you can tell, I kind of had to lift it on by myself. I'm sorry I couldn't record it, but I just kind of left the lip of this hanging out my belt line, and I held on just dead center of this, holding it in. Put the bottom two to kind of support that weight, and then since I had the bolts close to me, I was able to grab one over and get one seated in, and now I'm going to put the rest in. And that is installed. I just got to put the two little drawers in there. This closes up. My only real complaint is, if you notice the gapping here, let me focus that in, they actually left a decent amount of gapping in between. In my opinion, they should have probably made that where it kind of sucked in a lot closer and didn't have that type of gap. I'm not sure if that was done on purpose for a reason to keep it off, but I mean, there is enough to almost put my fingers down in there. When looking at the little storage panel, there is a large lip and a small lip. The smaller lip is what goes in, and it basically just catches in. And then down below right here, you're going to have a screw, which we're going to put that in. Those are these little tiny ones that came with it that just keep it from going around, and I can't find these anywhere in the instructions to actually be used for this. So get the second shelf, put that in place, and a nice little storage box. Alright, and after reading through the rest of the instructions, when you get into the 4 trail rail equipped vehicles, that is what the 11.3 spacers are, the other ones that I had left over. They were designed to be used while still using the trail rail, which is most likely why they left the distance between here, is if you had that trail rail system in there. In my opinion, if I had the trail rail system, I would remove that out just to have this instead of the trail rail. There's no reason to keep both of them in there. I might end up coming back in the future and coming down to the actual spacers and trimming those down. That way it sits a lot more flush. But if I do that, I'll do an updated video and post on that. And this is going to be with the bed shut all the way. As you can tell, it does take up a little bit of space, but you can see the distance of what you have. Just kind of help line things up. And I'm going to put the rear soft top window down in a sec. And just in case anyone wanted to see what it looks like with the actual soft top rail put in place. And distance gapping, you've got plenty of distance right here for in between of it. So open and close.